Hi, we're working on warming up, and we're going to go from the zone of our core up to get started. Head, shoulders, knees, toes. But head and shoulders, okay, so the usual stuff when we're warming up is, you know, we're moving around, we're getting the blood into the muscles. And if there's something tight, we're trying to stretch it a little bit. Shoulders, you know, trying to get them, they're usually rounded, so we're trying to unround them, okay? Wrists need warmed up because they're all cranky and all that stuff. So those are all great things, but we're going to then work on some more specific stuff using tools. So first off, you know, we're standing up, we're line our feet up straight, you know, not some crazy lazy position. Get everything lined up and tuck your chin and look up. Do you have some muscle strain behind your neck here? You know, is there something you can do to help release that? You know, if you're doing trigger point work, you're just going to be pressing gently, you know, just getting that thing out of there. Right and left, okay? But I want to show you this very special one. This is where you hold your shoulder down, you turn your head 45 degrees, and you look down. See how that puppy pops out right there? So when that muscle is either your levator scapula or your upper trap, or then down deep in here is that rhomboid everybody's talking about. But all three of those guys, we need to get this shoulder blade down. You want him level. You want to think about where he's at and back. And then you're going to get your neck, chin tucked, and to left and down. Of course, this is where you're going to have a chance for someone to do some foam rolling on you. If you have your trigger point work, this will be where you do your trigger points. See about this left side here. Shoulder blade level and back. Turn my head and down. Oh, right there's one. 1001, 1001, 1002. Oh, I can feel that one. 1001, 1002. So we're not only freeing up motion here, but we're trying to get motion to happen here. You can see as I turn my head, my fingers move. And so our head movement is coupled with the spine underneath. As our head turns, the spine should turn with it and should be able to stretch out. But not just in our neck, it actually starts here at T4. That's the motion that we're trying to get restored before we work out. So we've done a little bit of our neck, we got it warmed up. We thought about our shoulders. We can do reverse rolls, we can do forward rolls, we can do apprehension. So working, we can do reach up. Now here we might find, as we reach up, our ribs pop up. Can't have that, so there's going to be this whole routine for this posterior chain here. But that's another video. Right now, we just want to do the basics warm up, and I want to get to these arms. So wrists, in, out, lengthwise. Now, I do this movement. And now this isn't me cranking and trying to stretch some range of motion. What I'm doing, and this is an old martial arts technique, is as we turn our wrist, we hold it there and then we fight back against it. So I'm turning my wrist, holding it, and then this arm is actually fighting back against it. And what that does is that not only warms it up, but that helps build strong tendons and ligaments around all these little bones in your arm. Trigger points in your hand, that we'll have to work on here at the table. And let's do that. So some of the basic rules are this. First of all, we want to try to work everything towards the heart. So when we're doing a foam roller, do we want to roll down towards our hand? No, we're going to be rolling up towards our heart. Okay? Now when you're doing glutes and stuff like this, it's not so important, but if you're doing big leg muscles where there's a lot of vascularization in there, and there's a lot of blood vessels, you want to make sure that you respect the little one-way valves and keep everything coming towards the heart. If you can add movement, that's a great thing. So for instance, if I'm doing my wrist here, I'm opening my wrist up as I roll them, okay? And so towards the heart, open it up if you can. Just 1 or 2 pounds of pressure when you're working on it. This is what that looks like. It's sort of, imagine this, 1001, release. 1001, 1002, release. So what you're doing is you're squishing out the bad, letting in the good. So let's look at the detail around our arm. Okay. Another thing is you try to start closer to the heart and then work distally. So obviously the neck and the shoulder were closest, and now we're going to work our bicep. I'm going to, as I open my arm, roll it up. Right? A big one is this tricep one here. He's always part of this posterior chain, all these knots under here. So getting that guy rolled out. And your forearm, you see that there's a bone on each side of your arm here, and these muscles attach to that bone, okay? So this muscle is attached to this bone, it comes up and it flexes the wrist. So we want to get all the way from the wrist to the bone, but we don't want to clunk on the bone. Don't want to hit on the bones. Ouch, that hurts. But we need to get right up to it. And you will find sometimes you'll have a sensitive area where there's a nerve entrapped or something like that, and you do want to avoid creating any pain. This should not necessarily be anything other than uncomfortable because it's massage. There shouldn't be any sharp or lasting pain. So there I did about 6-10 times up at the forearm. Let's flip it over. Here's this bone, all these muscles which lift our arm, the extensors. There. And for most of us, there's a couple very sore spots right in there near that head of the radius and our elbow joint. So you can look at the tricep again, bicep. If you can be tricky and use like a stick roller like this if you want. But 5 or 6 times. If you have a partner can grab and wring these up, squeeze all that blood out for you, and run it up a few times. And that does hurt, but in the long run, especially if you're an elite athlete, that is a tremendously beneficial experience. You'll feel the release quickly. So now we're looking at our hand. Of course, many of us type, and we get all kinds of, a lot of stiffness here in the palm and crankiness around the joints. Be gentle. Wherever there's an arthritic joint, you don't want to be pushing right up on that joint. You want to look at the muscle that's crossing it and attaching to it, and that's what you want to release. When you're going down here deep into the thumb, where this thumb connects at the base, people have a lot of arthritis in that area. So just getting the muscle close to it is what's important, not creating more pain where that joint is. And there I can feel that one right there. He wants a little bit of action there. Just stretch him out. Some people have different massage techniques for the hand and the fingers, and that's all fine, good. But that's a general warm-up, rolling of the wrists and the arms. Just briefly, if you have tools, you will want to, at some point, get someone to do some sort of a Graston technique. If you don't have Graston tools, ancient Chinese secret, jade or bone. But let me tell you what, surgical steel, you feel the difference. Immediately you'll feel just where that you want to be working. Now we won't do this obviously every week. This will be something you do now and then, or after an injury to keep it from getting tight. And you see a little bit of redness shows up there. That's where the inflammation was. Got worked out of there. Now, I haven't done this for a while, so you can actually hear grinding. Let me see if I can get you up close and you can hear this. Let's see if you can hear this. Hear that? That's the difference steel can, surgical steel, and a very expensive set of tools can do. It can really get the grit out of those tendon sheaths and the muscle slings. Ooh, boy, that sucker in there. A little bit too much today. So you do have to be careful. Now, this little bit of redness you see here, that should go away in a couple hours. If you're doing any kind of work like this and it's leaving bruises, it's leaving marks that last more than a couple, beyond this redness, or that's too much. Graston technique is taught, it's a very gentle approach to opening up the fascia, getting it gliding, using quality instruments, and it happens very quickly. And it's a great adjunct to our release techniques. So if you have any questions, which I'm sure you will, ask them on your next visit, and we look forward to the next video, which should be on releasing these shoulder points here in this show. Thank you.